everybody, and welcome to this episode of Adventures with Katie. Today, we are going to be working on my engine. My check engine light is on and flashing, but not flashing a code like do. It's not. It's just doing a good, steady flash. It's constant. It's not stopping. It's going and going and going. So, looking at the forums, according to the forums on 96 plus and up Miatas, what that means is that it is something that can interfere with my catalytic converter. But it's also showing a P0300 code, which is random multiple misfires. So, what that tells me is it's something to do with my spark plugs and my coil packs. So, I've got my coil packs here and here. My spark plugs 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the wires that connect everything. So what we are going to do is we're going to change the spark plugs, look at them, and then change the wires and see how that goes. And then we're going to go from there with the coil packs. So let's take a look at. Let's see if we can go from here. If you notice, the coil or the wires that go from A to B are covered in a tape. So if we look at the new wires, they very clearly are not. So that tells me that these wires, this is a 17-year-old car, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, excuse me, much older, like an 18-year-old car. It's an 18-year-old car. There's a very high chance that those wires are probably 18 years old. Do I know this? No, I don't. But I'm going to make that assumption, because if somebody had worked on it, maybe it had a short somewhere, maybe they put that electrical tape on there to save themselves a couple of bucks. So, we're going to change out the wires, change out the plugs, possibly the coil packs. We'll take a look and see, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we are going to take a little short extension, a 1/4 inch and 1/4? No. 2/3 ratchet wrench, if I've got that right. And we're going to take a 10mm socket in order to get these bolts here. So, we got 1, 2, 3, and 4 that we're going to get. We're going to break them loose, and we're going to bash them out. Alright, now that they're broken, let's go ahead and get those out. Alright, now next, these are out, but next, before you really pull them up, because they are attached, you want to get a hold of some needle nose pliers, pinch this in, and pull that out. Alright, and then this is also attached to this plug here. And just pop that out there, and you should be able to wiggle and pull it out. So, it's a little bit dirty, but not too terrible looking. But you can't really tell too much from this right here. So we'll go ahead, set it to the side, get this other one. Go. Okie dokie. Alright, unplug this here. Let's see. Oh, that popped right out. I got something there. Okay, and then just kinda wiggle these boots out. And set that off to the side. There we go. That came out pretty easily. Now, what might end up happening sometimes is from your coil pack, what might end up happening is you'll pull your coil pack but your boot will stay in there. What ends up happening, or what you want to end up doing, is you want to try and put it back on and wiggle it out a little bit. Or if you absolutely cannot, just get a hold of some needle nose, maybe try and put one on each side to pull it out evenly, to reduce the risk of potentially tearing this. So that happens sometimes. So next we want to get our spark plug socket and pull our plugs out. And we're going to start with, where are you? We're going to start with the first one. Alright, so what we have here is a spark plug socket. Now the difference between a regular socket, regular deep well socket, and a spark plug socket is the spark plug socket has a little gasket on the inside, and you use that to attach to your spark plugs to help wiggle them out a little bit. So we got the middle ratchet size. I keep wanting to say a quarter, but the quarter is the small one. You got the quarter is the small one, the half is the big one, and you got that one in the middle. I can never remember what that one is. But 2/3 maybe, 2/3 drive. But you want to use your spark plug socket, so you want to attach that to there, and we'll go ahead and have you want an extension on there, but not, you don't really need a big one. And we'll go ahead and get that first one out. Now with the cylinders, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. I can never rightly remember which one is which, but it either goes front to back or front to back. So yeah, so we're going to start with this first one furthest away from the driver's side, or from the interior cabin. There we go. And holy dear God. Oof. Can you see it? Not really. Not really. What is wrong with this picture? Let us consult the children's book. Alright, so ideally you want colored pictures, but not all of them have colored pictures. So we are going to look at the pictures and match up what they are. So if we look at these, this one is almost an exact replica of what it is. There's no node, and you need a node. Notice there's a node here, or here, or here. There's no node. So spark plug has been left in the engine too long, as evidenced by the extreme gap. Plugs with such an extreme gap can cause misfiring and stumbling, accompanied by a noticeable lack of power. That's exactly what's happening. So we're going to pull up the other three, see how they look, because it was random, multiple misfires. So I'm going to assume that there's another one that's like this, if not all four. So, oi. I'm glad I got spark plugs. So, let's go ahead and pull the other ones and put the new ones back in. Alright, so here are my spark plugs in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 1 and 3 with the missing nodes, with 2 still having its node, and 4 being the least bit run down, but still ready to come out. So if you're going to change one spark plug, change all of them. This will run you about 20 bucks. No, not even, maybe 10. I think I spent 10 on these, on the new ones. $10 for a set of 4. If you've got more, it will be a little bit more expensive, but if you're going to change one, change them all. So let's go ahead and get these new ones in. Oh, and you will need a slightly longer extension for putting them in. Not the short stubby one that I had. You'll need a little bit longer one. Alright, so here is our new spark plug, all nice and pretty and shiny and with its node. And we're going to take that and just simply put it in. when you pull this out, you want to make sure your gasket is still in there, and it is. So we're going to repeat this with the other 3 and then plug it back up. Alright y'all, so when you pull out your new coils, you want to look at them side by side to make sure that they're about the same, or that they are exactly the same, or not about the same, but exactly, and they are. What is this? That looks like a piece of metal that got bent. That's no bueno. Okay, so other than that, let's look and make sure things are the same. We got here, we got one's nice and pretty, the other one is not so much. We got one's less dirty. And uh-oh, let's see that. Look there. So here's the new one, and you got each of these pins. I don't know if you can see those, a little bit bright out. Each of these pins are even, where each of these pins are not. We got one's a little bit further out than the others, and it looks like one is pushed in a little bit too much. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but normal, further in. So I'm going to grab the other old one and see if it's the same. Alright, so we have, here's the other old one. You see it's got the longer coil still attached, or the longer wire still attached to it, and here's what we were looking at earlier. So we got this one here. Each of those plugs, or those wires, are even. Alright, see that right there, they're even, where these ones are not. So this one here could have been contributing to the misfire. So I'm going to replace this one. And this one I think I'm going to probably hold on to. I've got to compare it a little bit more because I haven't compared this one yet, but I think I'm going to hold on to this one, especially because that other one has that little piece that's down. Yeah. Alright, so before we put anything back together, you want to get yourself some anti-seize silicone greases, dielectric grease. You need this. You do not need this one this big unless you're going to be working on stuff. They've got those little packets that you can use for a one-time little quick swap out, but you need this. It will keep your car from seizing up and breaking. So get yourself some dielectric silicone grease. And they've got it bigger too, so you could do that if you wanted. But what we're going to do is we're just going to put a little bit on the inside of each boot that we're going to replace on the socket. Excuse me, not socket, the boot. But looking at this, here we've got our old boot here and our new boot here. So here's on the inside where it's going to attach to the coil to go around. This right here is the wire where this is the boot. So we have our old one, see all that tape, and we've got this new one. Now, what reason I'm showing you this here is because we got the old one has closer together and the new one is further apart. Looking on the insides of the other one, there is just a copper, I think it's copper, metal round. And I think this is further apart because it's going to offer more connection, which is good. So more connection is good. And then we go down to here, and everything that's got a hair on it. Everything is the same. So we're going to put some dielectric grease, just a little on the inside of here. You want a little on the inside of here, and we're going to attach it up. Alright, here's that little that I mentioned of the dielectric grease. And then we're going to take this. We're going to take that, we're going to twist it around a little bit. You want that spread. And we're going to just pop it right on. Like so. And then this one attaches on this one. No, this one attaches on this one. Got fourth because this goes all the way up to the front. So we're going to pop that on there. And we're going to let that sit pretty. This one goes here. Right there. Gonna pop that on there. And let that sit pretty. And then we're going to, oh no, you know I did not put any dielectric grease on the inside of this. Let's do that. Where did it go? Right here. And same as we did before, just a little bit. And then when you place it on, wiggle it around. and then secure that sucker. There we go. Alright, and then it's a new one. Dioelectric. There we go. Now this one might not be quite so easy, but there we go. Get that pop on there. This one gave me issue earlier too. Let's see. I wonder if I were to do this and pull it off and then put that on there. Let's see if that would help. Whew, technical difficulties. Alright, and I realized after the fact that everything was blurry, so I do apologize for that. But for the rest of it, we're just going to keep it in the clear vision. But we see we've got it, the first one in, it loops around and it goes in. It's nice and pretty gray, so you can see it clearly. We've got the other one in, and the third plug right there. Now, I could not get this to seat in all of the way. Is it the end of the world? Not for this particular one, because it's directly attached and it will be held down by 2 bolts. So, is it the end of the world? Probably not. It'll still run. That's okay. So, we're going to take our bolts and our 10mm with the slat extension, put it on to tighten if it's not already, and actually you might want to unhook this connector, tighten that down. Do I have it on tighten? Have it a moment, y'all. Have it a moment. Balderdash. Technical difficulties. Okay, that was all it was. I just wasn't sitting right on the hole like it should have been. So now that I've got that one screwed in partially, we'll go ahead and get this one in. More. Alright. One more. Alright, and then we do the same with the one in back. Alright, now that those are back on and ready, we are going to take these plugs that we unplugged at the beginning and just kind of pop that one in there and secure the wire to the wire holster. And what that'll do is it helps keep the wires separated, so that way there's less electrical charge that can go from one to the other and could mess up your wires. That's the reason we have insulation, but you also want that extra little space just to be sure. Alright, and then we want to take this extra wire and plug it back up there. And that's it! Ta-da! That's your coil patch, your wires, and your plugs. Easy peasy. So, well, that being said, ist gut. Y'all have a good day. And I'll see you next time on Adventures with Katie.